welcome to the City Show. Pat O Melia here, you there? That's why I do this show. Summer's here, which means hiatus is coming. So you had some sporadic city shows going through the summer. The Shore Show goes into production where we film on the boardwalk. But I'm thinking of doing the Shore Show car show down in the Seaside Heights. I'm a car guy. There's a lot of other car guys out there. Kind of an easy production. We just got to figure out the logistics of it. And maybe we do a car show. We did some back in the early years of Hudson Media out in Secaucus. We did some car shows. So we're kind of revisiting our past. And promote the tourism in New Jersey, that sort of thing. Don't forget everything you see on the bottom of the screen. Subscribe to us on YouTube. Follow us on Twitter and Instagram and on Facebook. Don't forget live stream Vimeo. That's our base streaming service. We're renegotiating our contract this month rather. I don't see any problems, hopefully. So download the live stream Vimeo app. A lot of programming on there. That's where we archive all of our programming. But there is a lot of other programming that's free, so enjoy. NJCU, New Jersey City University. The controversy continues. The embarrassment there continues. They need to do the right thing, and they're trying to avoid. I got friends on this board at NJCU, and they need to step up and do the right thing. They're looking at for a $10 million bailout right now of your taxpayer dollars in an inflation market where the last thing you need is any more people reaching into your pocket for any more money. They can't have a bailout until they show, in this case they're applying to Senator Brian Stackhouse of the mayor of Union City, no money until they show some significant changes, and not the ones they've implemented so far. So far, what they do, because of bad management, they've laid off personnel, all the grunts, by the way, none of the heavy money, grunt workers they've laid off. They've raised the tuition. So the kids coming into school in September have to pay more because of mismanagement by the executive branch of New Jersey City University, the president and so forth, and their board. They did cancel the P cards, credit cards that the employees had to use. Yet only one head is rolled, and that was the president, Sue Henderson. The entire board needs to resign. Before Senator Brian Stack does anything to bail out New Jersey City University, he has to do the right thing and demand these resignations. Demand that they close the waterfront school they expanded to. It cost about $400,000 per quarter, and the same thing in Monmouth County. New Jersey City University shouldn't be there. All right, we're going to break for commercial. We'll come back. We'll talk about some topics and get the show going. You're watching The City Show. I'll be right back.
Jersey City Medical Center is healing, enhancing, and investing in Hudson County because your heart doesn't beat just for you. So get it checked. When your bones are healthy, it lifts us all. We're delivering joy daily in our Lord Abbott Maternity Wing and providing New Jersey's only NCI-designated comprehensive cancer center. We'll continue building our medical network and taking every precaution for your safety so that we can all be healthy together.
We're back, City Show. Let's go over the topics before we get into them. Jersey City has expanded its IZO, inclusionary zoning ordinance. They've created a couple of tiers in an effort to create affordable housing. Then we're going to talk about the second tax bill the people of Jersey City received, but this time with a personal letter from the mayor of Jersey City, Steve Fulop. And then we're going to talk about reining in development in Jersey City. Kind of a Jersey City-centric show today. The IZO, inclusionary zoning ordinance. Jersey City has massaged it again. And what they're going to introduce is two tiers of the IZO. To cut it down to understandable, either it will be 10 or 15% of a development will be affordable housing. I love the word affordable in Jersey City. There's nothing affordable in Jersey City right now. Affordable housing, well, you got a nice one bedroom for about $3,400 a month in Jersey City. That is not affordable. No matter how you want to term it, that ain't it. Either of the projects, any development will have 10 to 15% set aside for affordable housing. And this will be accomplished by either granting additional density or an abatement that, instead of going through the council now, could be done at the planning board level. You could get additional density by affordable housing, 10-15%. An abatement, you get the 10-15% affordable housing rider, or give back to the city. Well, a park here, a schoolroom there, I don't know, whatever the city uses. The city, you want to build higher? Give more. Give the city more. You need an abatement, you want to build higher, you get an abatement, you got to make 15% of it affordable. Problem is, there's no affordability in Jersey City, but yet we're going to do this. Basically, what we're doing with these affordable housing units, and again, I hate using that word affordable. We've had in the last few weeks, the average price of a one bedroom in Jersey City was like $3,400. That's not affordable. Basically, what we're doing, we're putting legal bribes on the table. You want some density? We want 15% set aside for affordable housing. Affordable housing at $3,400 a pop per month. You want an abatement? Give us some, and we'll give you an abatement. What should be included in every one of these developments? And I know we need affordable housing, but I can't stress this enough. $3,400 a month for a one bedroom is not affordable housing. That's not going to work. What should be attached to each one of these developments is a classroom option. Every development, all these that come online, all of them should have a development as it pertains to the children that are going to be in these developments. At least half of the units are going to have a child in there, or children, and they're going to have to go to school. But there are no new schools being built. So there lies the problem we have. And we're going to get into it in the show about the tax bill where the Jersey City Board of Education just raised your taxes $2,400 a year. It's not going to change anytime in the near future. You will hit the $1 billion budget next year, and yet you still won't have any room for all the kids. Something has to be attached to the development that, if you're going to build a unit with, say, development with 400 units, you got to tell me where 200 of those units with children are going to go to school. Somehow we need to address this as we're building it. As I said before, somehow, as development meets the intersection of the reality of where the building is built, the kids they're there, and now they're going to go to school, somehow we have to be able to accommodate these children. We don't do that. No abatement in Jersey City should be shielded from school taxes. Because right now, when we just you got your tax bills, we're going to talk about it. It went up like $600 some odd for the quarter, depending on what your house is assessed at. And if 600 was assessed at $450, that's pretty cheap in Jersey City. No abatement should be shielded from school taxes, because some of these abatements can run 20, 30 years. And those school taxes will keep going up unless we try to get a handle on it. Now, we got to do it citywide, first step, but then we got to do this statewide. We have to look at all the expenses of schools, and I've gone into this many times. The Jersey City school budget is run amok, but so is the state. I have 584 school districts. I got 564 municipalities. There's something wrong here. I got school districts with a superintendent and 7 assistant or deputy superintendents. You're paying for all that in every one of those communities with your state taxes. So we really need to sit down and address school funding, cut out a lot of the overhead there. In a 30-year abatement, and we're going to talk about this further in the show. They're locked in on taxes for the length of their abatement. So when there is a tax increase that goes through, and we think it's a blanket tax increase, it really isn't. And we'll get into that further in the show. Mom and pop are shouldering the majority of this tax increase on their 1-2 family homes. Now, people, you look at a lot of the high rises, if they were built in the last 10 years, good chance they got an abatement there. They're not affected. One of the reasons Mayor Fulop change the way we deal with the garbage, trash pickup. That abated properties, you keep throwing in their city taxes, not doing anything with those high rises. Now, with the MUA going to charge per unit for a trash pickup, everybody in Jersey City, from the abated property to not-for-profits, everybody's going to share in that. So hopefully, that'll bring down the overall tax bite that we're all suffering here down the road. I don't know, it won't happen this year, but it should happen down the road here. The reality is that is there really any part of Jersey City that requires an abatement anymore? Didn't we reach the status of location? Do we still need to bribe developers to build something here in Jersey City? I don't think we're there anymore. What we did, we just gave a new reason to give out abatements: affordable housing. Before that, we had to get development going in this part of the city or in that part of the city, or just off the waterfront. But that was no longer working because Jersey City is very successful. I don't know if we can handle any more prosperity. It may take us all broke at the rate we're going. But instead of saying we had to create development, now we're saying we have to do development for affordable housing. Then the only way we can do that is if we give out abatement. We just came up with another reason to give out abatements. Like I said, there is no way you can have affordable housing unless we get the city affordable. $2,400 a year tax increase, there will be no affordable housing. And I just said, I think it was last week's show, every $100 in additional rent translates to a 9% increase in homeless. Affordable housing can't be built on the backs of mom and pop. And there will be no affordable housing until the entire city is affordable. You just can't raise the taxes on about 60% of the properties in Jersey City. It's not fair. All right, we're going to break the commercial. You're watching The City Show. I'll be right back.
I've got cancer.
We've got the highest level of cancer care,
the latest clinical trials,
researchers working to find a cure,
and nurse navigators to guide you every step of the way.
At New Jersey's only NCI-designated Comprehensive Cancer Center, your safety has always been our top priority.
I've got cancer, but I also have peace of mind.
Jersey City Medical Center and Rutgers Cancer Institute of New Jersey. Let's beat cancer together.
We're back, City Show. Pat O Melia here, you there. We're talking about Jersey City. We're talking about taxes. Whole show is Jersey City centric today. If you're a Jersey City taxpayer, you got a second tax bill. Not that you needed a reminder that you got the first one. You open that first one, you were like, you see on Nextdoor, all the blog sites, all the websites, local ones in Jersey City. Everybody's talking about the tax increase, how we're going to pay it. There's inflation. People are still out of work from COVID. The second one came with a letter from Mayor Fulop. And basically, Mayor Fulop lays it on the line. The reason you have this is the Jersey City Board of Education. It is no shock to the people who watch this show. I told you last year there was a $1,000 increase from the Board of Education. Mayor Fulop was able to cover that with COVID funding. This year he couldn't. And then the Board of Ed raised you again, about $1,400. So you had this year's $1,400 and the last year's $1,000 that Mayor Fulop couldn't cover this time. So ipso facto, you got hit with about $2,400 on a home assessed at $450,000. That being said, do we really need to keep sending tax bills explanation? This world of social media, Mayor Fulop could have found another way. Yeah, maybe he's thinking if I just keep hitting you with tax bills, we'll just numb you to this, the increase. And eventually that'll take maybe another 6 or 7 tax bills to be sent to you. There's another way to do this. For that matter, I'm going to reach out for Mayor Fulop. We'll sit down and do another meeting with the mayor where we bring in the local journalists and we all pepper Mayor Fulop with questions. Explaining why the taxes are high, I understand Mayor Fulop's standpoint on that he doesn't want it to look like the municipality itself raised the taxes. He wants everybody to understand it's the school. Because not everybody reads that tax bill. They open that tax bill, first thing they're doing is that effing mayor. And even though the mayor doesn't agree with that, believe me, about 80% of Jersey City looks at that tax bill and the buck stops with him. Explaining the taxes doesn't help the property owners here pay those taxes. And some of them really have no other way to go about paying it. They may not have a tenant. They might not have a 2-family home or a 3-family home where they can push that along. or pass it along in this case. And that's wrong for the renters. And we put the onus on the property owners, and it looks like, well, the property owners have to pay the taxes. No, they're going to pass that along in rents. And there hence becomes the unaffordability of Jersey City. 80% of Jersey City are renters. And the landlord's going to pass that increase along. $200 increase a month, or $300, that may force somebody to go homeless. That may force someone not to get medicine. It may force someone to make some real tough decisions. Maybe they don't pay for car insurance anymore. Maybe they can't live in Jersey City, and that's what's happening. Unless you're some Wall Street or you're banging down $200-300 a year, in the next very short span of time, you may not be able to afford to live in Jersey City. You won't be, and if you own a property, you won't be able to afford the taxes. So you're going to have to sell your property and get out of here. The tax increase that went into play here doesn't affect the entire city. It's not a blanket tax increase because not all the city pays the taxes here. It's not spread across the city that way. Abated properties, their taxes are locked in. They're locked in depending on length of that abatement, 10, 20, 30 years. So they're exempt from that tax increase. So those properties can't be hit. Oh, we move on to the next property. Not-for-profits. There are a lot of not-for-profits in Jersey City. They're exempt from that tax increase. So they're off the table. So we lost the abated properties who raised the taxes, and we lost the not-for-profits. What are the not-for-profits? Any religious organizations. Churches, house of worship, properties owned by those religious organizations, which I had a problem with. I've gone through this for years and years and years about a church on Kennedy Boulevard owning property on Ocean Avenue. You know, people left their homes to the church. That property on Ocean Avenue is exempt because it's owned by the church. That shouldn't be. There's no religion going on that 2-3 family home on Ocean Avenue. I could see it in the church. I could see it in the school. I can see it in the rectory. But I don't see it on Ocean Avenue where the church is renting out those units. And there are a lot of these religious or not-for-profits in Jersey City. For that matter, we'll cover that in the third segment here. But there are approximately, I think it's 800, what is called Class 15C properties. You know, there's house of worship, not-for-profits, whatever the case, for whatever reason, they're exempt. Any 501c, they're exempt. Any house of worship, exempt. Any schools, exempt. Rent-controlled buildings. For those people renting, they're kind of exempt. They may only get an increase of maybe 2-3% a year. Meanwhile, the property owner just got hit on an assessment of $450,000 of $2,400. If that property is assessed at more than $450,000, even more. That property owner has nowhere to pass that increase because anything over 4 units is rent controlled in Jersey City, and he can't move, or she can't move. He or she can't move that. I'll say $2,400. It could be $5,600. I know some commercial owners were looking at $8,000-9,000 increases this year. No place to pass that along. One of the guys just signed a lease with a new tenant in his commercial business, and he's looking at that lease to see if he has a rider in there to cover some of that tax increase. Any state, city owned properties or county, tax exempt. And there's a lot of them in Jersey City. There are a lot of these properties are tax exempt. When you're riding around, now I mentioned this in the last segment. When you're riding around the city, take notice of these. Think about that when you're driving around the city. Start taking notice of the not-for-profits. You're paying your taxes. You own a 1-2 family, 3 family in Jersey City. You're getting beat over the head tax-wise because a lot. It's like my desk here. About 40% of my desk is tax exempt in Jersey City. So when those increases go into effect, 60% of it has got to shoulder that increase. And for the, people keep thinking about the waterfront. Jersey City is made up of mom and pops who own 1-2 family, 3 family homes. And that's investment. They work their lives to come up with the money for the down payment, the American dream, to own their own home. And now it's becoming very pricey to own their own home. But like I said, you look at churches, schools, parks, large apartment buildings, not the ones that aren't converted into condominiums yet, though, and they're rent controlled. Basically, the landlord's got to eat that tax increase because he can't pass it along to the rent controlled units. Any county buildings, any state owned, any city owned, all those properties are tax exempt. Like I said, 40% of my desk, tax exempt. The other 60% got to pay the freight. All right, we're going to break for commercial. You're watching The City Show. I'll be right back.
Jersey City Medical Center has a passion for heart health. We're Hudson County's only full-service heart hospital with innovative technologies and premier cardiovascular physicians, a partnership with Rutgers Health, the latest technology and medical advancements, and nationally renowned care for every heart in every community. Whoever your heart beats for, our hearts beat for you. Jersey City Medical Center.
We're back, City Show. Pat O Melia here. We're talking about who's paying taxes and who aren't paying taxes and who has to in Jersey City. Like I said, 60% of my desk doesn't have to pay taxes. And who are they? Well, let's look at Journal Square. The Path. They don't pay taxes. I know Mayor Fulop took them a court a while back. There's some kind of a settlement. The Stanley Theater. Jehovah's Witnesses. No taxes there. The Lowe's Theater. FOL. Well, that may change. You got the Devils coming in who are going to run the theater. Even though it's a city-owned property, I'm pretty sure the Devils who are going to run the theater are going to have to pay property taxes. You know, it would be great if you could just rent the city building and not have to worry about property taxes. That gives your business one hell of a step up on any other business because you don't have to worry about property taxes. I'm sure there'll be some sort of a property tax eventually. But right now, there's no property tax coming out of the Lowe's Theater. The County Community College. Hudson County Community College, they pretty much bought up Sip Avenue. No property taxes coming down. A little further down at 830, the old Provident Bank building. That's county now. No property taxes coming out of there. The building on Sip and Summit, where the motor vehicles is and unemployment. No taxes coming out of there. That's all exempt. Pompidou, what will be our new Jersey City Museum. Across from, basically across from the landmark Lowe's Theater. City owned. No property taxes coming out of there. You know, I'm sure the new developments that are going on around Journal Square, they're probably abated. So there's no property taxes coming out of there. When you look at Journal Square as a whole, from the Stanley Theater, through the Lowe's, from the Path, to Pompidou, all of Summit Avenue, Sip Avenue, down to Summit, by the motor vehicle, motor vehicles is in there, unemployment. None of that pays property taxes. Now, if you got a two-family home on Magnolia, you're paying property tax. Somebody's got to cover all those tax exempt, whether it's religious, whether it's state-owned, county-owned, whatever the case. Mom and pop's got to shoulder that. Talking about development, we need to have a development czar. Somebody that can coordinate a lot of developments. Somebody who can look at a development and see what the impact is to Jersey City. See what the impact is going to be to the city and to mom and pop. Somehow we have to start respecting mom and pop. Someone who can evaluate the project and its impact on the city. In this case, today is all centric, Jersey City centric. The cost impact to the city of this project. You know, how much is this going to cost the city? Now, the developer is going to make his money on it, but Jersey City is left holding it back. How? Well, from city services alone. You know, city services being anything from the cops to the garbage pickup. You know, all that has to be factored in. And if that development is abated, a lot of the city services are getting there for free. You know, what is the impact on that development on the city budget? Of course, there's going to be all sorts of associated city expenses with that development, but if it's abated, who's paying those expenses? Not them, they're abated now. Oh, that's mom and pop does that. There's a reason the city budget keeps going up. As much as Fulop continues to generate revenue, the budget still goes up. And what causes the budget to go up? Payroll, insurances, the need for the payroll, and that would be development. If you want to look at the overriding factor of what has pushed up the city municipal budget in the last 10 years or the last 20 years, I guarantee you development has a huge impact on that. We need to study that impact and what it costs the city on each one of these developments. What's the impact of that development school-wise? Each one of those projects, as I said earlier, there's going to be kids, there's going to be children living in those buildings. What is the impact here? Every one of those kids is going to need some classroom space. Do we have the classroom space? In the next few years, thousands upon thousands upon thousands of units of housing are going to come online in Jersey City. And there's going to be thousands upon thousands of children who have to go to school. Now, you see development going on all over Jersey City, whether it's high-rises or 2-3 family homes, or it's 2-family, really with a third bonus apartment in there, which we would used to call illegal apartment. They're going up all over the city. Did anybody sit down and do the math, take out a calculator, and say, all right, we're going to have all these kids going to school. Where are these kids going? Our population of Jersey City is skyrocketed, which has caused the repositioning of the population ward-wise here. You see a lot of development going on all over Jersey City. Do you notice any schools going up? What? No. There are no schools going up. But there are towers going up. It's looking to going back to Journal Square again. There's a lot of towers going up there. Pretty soon, C.H. Martin will be gone. The square ramp is going to be a big apartment building there. Well, apartment, condos, whatever you want to call it, it's going to be up there. All this is changing. And you have buildings going up left and right. Guess what isn't? Schools. So we have no place to put the kids when they go to school. Somebody has to have some foresight, some long-range vision to see what the impact of these developments are on the city. Can we accommodate everything that's going to be required with these new developments in the city? And if we can't, how do we go about doing it? How do we go about paying for it without reaching into the pockets of mom and pop? Because I said earlier, you want an abatement? Give us 15% affordable. Oh, that's great. That's abated now for the next 20, 30 years. You got the affordable housing in there. But the kids, once they get out of the building, what's affordable? And who pays for this affordable? It's going to be mom and pop again. We have to figure out the long-range impact of all this development in Jersey City and how we're going to pay for it. And one of the biggest aspects of it is schools. Where are the kids going to school? We keep building up our population. Like I said, high-rises are going up, 2-3 family homes are going up. It's going up all over. Schools aren't. We have no parking as it is. And stop kidding yourself when you say, well, these new developments don't need any parking. Yes, they do. Just look at Hoboken Avenue. We have no mass transit, no subway. And even the mass transit we have, we keep losing bus routes here. We need somebody who can coordinate the developments, permit-wise, street closing-wise, quality of life-wise. You lose the quality of life when there's 2 or 3 2-family home projects going on your block. Yeah, you lose the quality of life there with all the construction. And don't forget, these new homes, they all come with that bonus apartment, which is an illegal apartment. That is another problem for Jersey City. There's tax fraud involved. There's insurance fraud. There's building and zoning fraud. There's lots of frauds. We need someone or someones to figure out the impact of all this development on the future of Jersey City. All right, we're at a show. You be good. You be safe. I'll talk to you later. Good night.